to the 1-year anniversary show for Drinking with Dana. Oh my god, I'm so glad you're all here. It's been a heck of a year, and you all are the ones who made this possible. I'll talk a little bit about the history, the early history in just a minute, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who's tuning in now. I see Morning Wind and Winter Vespers and Ogre, Marco out in the chat. Good to see you all. There's already some happy anniversary wishes. Thank you all for being here. We are up to 114 followers here on Twitch and 39 on YouTube. So we are actually a going concern at this point. And literally, the show would not have been possible without all of you. There were a couple times early on that I was like, well, that's it. That was something I did. I don't need to do it anymore. And then immediately after I thought that, someone would say something incredible to me about how meaningful they found the show, or how much it gave them comfort, or they felt accepted, or some positive emotion from the show. And then I was like, well, crap, now I have to keep going. So thank you for not letting this be just a 3-episode flash in the pan ADHD brain fart for me. I'm really grateful for everyone for being here and for supporting me through all of this. Especially, I have to say thank you to our mysterious benefactor for all the financial support throughout the years. Thank you to everyone who donated back on our charity stream last Christmas. Thank you for all the bits and tips and everything. Actually, thank you for helping me get to the point where I could actually be an affiliate with Twitch. I literally could not have done this without you. So, Winter Vesper says, "Oh my god, I love that gorgeous top." Funny story. So I've been trying not to repeat any of my tops throughout the series. But since this is a 1-year anniversary, this is what I wore in the very first episode. I figured I'd end up where I started this first season. I love this top. It's one of my favorites. Velvet's not always the best choice for summer, but it's for some reason cloudy out today, so I think I can get away with it. Anyway, what's I say? There's something else I was going to say about that, but yes, I love it too. Let's see. Many hearts for everyone. Many greetings. Let's see. Yes. So, sorry. So yeah, no, I honestly never thought we would get this far, and this is not the end. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna take next episode off, but we're gonna come back. And just as strong as ever. I'd like to say I'm going to come back with a bunch of new recipes, but I'm probably going to sit on my butt for 2 weeks when I'm not doing stuff that needs to get done before the beginning of August, which is something else I should talk about over this year. This past year has been a rough one for me personally. Both my father and my father-in-law passed away from cancer over the past year. Most of the first 3 months of the year I spent this year in the hospital with my dad. So, I think I still managed to get most of the shows out, but that's been rough. There's been, basically, I went into the holidays last year already exhausted, and then the hits just kept on coming. So, being here with all of you has really kept me going. I really appreciate the support and just the camaraderie and friendship that I've gotten from all of you. It really kept me going over this last year. So now I need to make a drink so that we can toast to next year. So, and I think you might recall last episode I mentioned I was going to do a scorpion and a pink Djinn. Well, I'm still doing the Pink Djinn, but for various reasons, I'm not doing a scorpion today. One, because it was a little self-indulgent, and two, gardenias are prohibitively expensive this time of year apparently, and mine aren't blooming yet, so I couldn't really do that. And the gardenia is important for reasons I will discuss when my gardenias do start blooming. But the other reason I didn't do it is because, like I say, you out there in the audience have been hugely important to the success of this show, and this anniversary is not about me. It should be about you as well. You've been amazing, and I found out along the way that about half of you don't even drink at all. So, to celebrate all of you who for some reason watch my drinking show and don't drink, this is a non-alcoholic drink. And I've been talking about doing a non-alcoholic drink show for a while, and I've tested out quite a few of them, and this is the one I like the best so far. I'm still trying out some new ones, but this is the best one that I found. So let's go ahead and go there, and this is called the Neruda, and it was originally invented by Marina Markovic, the head bartender at Lore in Brooklyn, New York. Not a lot of information I could find out about this other than the inventor and location. It's a fairly recent drink. I'm presuming it was named for Pablo Neruda, but she never specified. So let's just get to it. Now, of course, no alcohol in here. All the things are roughly equal difficulty to make, so no real importance on the order here. But I'm going to start off with the grenadine that I showed you how to make back in episode 13. And despite what it says on the label for the bottle, it is not concentrated sulfuric acid. It is in fact grenadine. And 1 ounce of that. And basically what we're doing is making a interesting soda syrup. And then we're going to add some chilled soda water to it, which is one thing that I recently got. Well, I'll talk about that at the right time. So, lime juice as well. I got these tiny little limes, so hopefully one will give me 3/4 of an ounce. And by the way, how's everyone doing out there? I gave my little speech and talk about everything. How was everyone else's year? Did you have success? Did you have a rough time? Did you are you getting through things okay? Can you use a little help? I know some people out there have had very important events go on, medical stuff, which is always something that happens in the trans community. So it's I myself am trying to get a couple of surgeries that are taking for freaking ever to get. It's about 3/4 of an ounce. Yeah. Tip of one of the little stem from the lime got in there. All right, so that is 1 ounce of grenadine, 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, and a 1/2 ounce of cinnamon syrup. Again, I'm just using Tarani's because it's shelf-stable. It's easy to get. It's I like a few things that have cinnamon syrup in it, but not enough to go through it very fast. And so instead of making it, I just buy this, and it works fine as far as I'm concerned. If you want to be fancy, there are recipes online you can find to make your own cinnamon syrup. And there might be some that are shelf stable, but I don't know, like I say, Tarani's is easy to get, and I started making some of the drinks when I had a bottle of it, and I just used that, and I haven't found a reason to stop using it yet. So, these syrups are a little on the sticky side, so Okay. So now we're going to shake these three ingredients together. Ogre Marco says, I hate summer, but otherwise I'm fine. Good. I'm glad that you are fine. Let's see. All right, put a little more ice in there than I intended, but that's fine. So we're going to shake these three together. And literally all we're doing here is mixing these up and maybe chilling them down and maybe adding a little bit of water to them to make them a little less fluid. A little less thick so that they actually spread nicely. And then I'm going to do what's called an open pour here. And that's where you take off the top of the container. And it basically means you're not going to strain it. So I'm just going to pour it, ice and all, right into the glass. Now, the recipe I got didn't say you're supposed to do that, but in my mind, that's the best way to do it, because a lot of the syrup is going to stick to the ice. And then I am going to grab some chilled soda water I made using my DrinkMate OmniFizz, which is a new toy that I just got, partially from money from our mysterious benefactor and all of you have donated, and partially through a gift card I got from my brother for my birthday this year. So let's see. I'll get to that. So basically what it's a device that supposedly can carbonate anything. So I carbonated, this is just water that I carbonated, and I did it about a week ago, so hopefully it is still well carbonated. Otherwise I will sneak away for a second and recarbonate it. Let's see, so Morning Wind says, we're looking forward to autumn too. Winter Vesper says, we're doing surprisingly well at our house. I'm finally starting to feel confident with my makeup. So thank you for helping me learn that way back when I started. It is absolutely my pleasure. You're probably way better at it than I am now because I've just gotten very lazy with my makeup. Let's see. Morning Wind says, is cinnamon syrup sweet? Yes. It's basically a simple syrup that has cinnamon infused into it. And I can't remember. Usually you just basically boil cinnamon sticks for a while and then add enough sugar to make that a simple syrup to it. But like I say, there are recipes out there. But it is very sweet. So Lori says that I love saying OmniFizz. I absolutely do. It is a great word. And it sounds like something that Doofenshmirtz would invent on Phineas and Ferb. So, all right. Actually, so one thing I am going to say about this is that the syrups here are going to kind of want to sit at the bottom. So I'm going to add a little bit and stir it in. Because that's going to take out a little bit of the carbonation. But, and so hopefully it'll take out a little carbonation, but it'll also loosen it up a bit. All right. Let's see how this is. One thing I do want to say is that, in my opinion, this makes kind of a strong drink in terms of the flavors. Not obviously, there's no alcohol, but in terms of flavors, it is a very potent mix. When I make them for myself, I tend to put them in a larger glass and just add a little more soda water to them. Lori likes them this concentrated. So cheers! Happy anniversary to all of us! And it is a really good drink. So the person who invented it said, I can't remember if she said she intended for it to be this way or if it just happened, but it tastes like a Sour Patch Kid. Now, I don't think it's that sour, personally, but there is definitely that lime juice in there. It is fruity. You get the pomegranate from the grenadine, and you get the cinnamon cutting through it all. Um, let's see. Mm. Oh, I forgot to put cherries on it, but Lori, by the way, is not up to coming out to be with us tonight. She had some minor dental surgery today, so when I make the food today, she might sneak in and grab the clams and then head out. But other than that, uh, anyway, so what was I saying about this? So yeah, it's very fruity and very tart at the beginning of it, um, but tart in that sweet tart flavor. It is not does not pucker your mouth. It does not, but it is there. It is present, which is why I say that the Sour Patch Kids comparison is inaccurate because it does not pucker your mouth that way. Um, but it does taste very fruity. Does taste very sweet. The carbonated water has some acid to it, along with the acid and lime. But that carbonation actually cuts out some of that tartness and sweetness, um, and I think it just tastes really nice. And it is an honest to God cocktail. It really is. I mean, it feels like a cocktail. It's I suppose, well, except for the lime juice, you could probably pre-mix the cinnamon syrup and the grenadine, but it's more complicated. It feels more adult than just a regular soda. It's it is actual mixology. So it absolutely has a place on the show, and it absolutely has a place in any drinking establishment, or including your living room. So let's see. Uh, oh yes, lots of wishes for health for Lori to feel better. Um, yeah, it was minor, but she is still in not feeling great. So hopefully she is going to be feeling better by tomorrow. But unfortunately, the timing was just off, and this is when she could get the appointment, and it needed to be done today. So that is the drink. And like I say, you're supposed to garnish it with cherries, and I had everything planned. I even had the little skewer to put them in, but I didn't do that. So, oh well. Cheers, everyone. Hmm. Lori is saying that the nurse prescribed ice cream, so she's trying to be cheerful about things. And that's actually true. The nurse actually did prescribe ice cream for the pain because she's supposed to keep the swelling down. So, all right, let me tidy this up, and then we can go on to the food for today. Let's see. Normally I put everything off to the side over there, but I think I'm going to need that space. Let me put this back. And I have to apologize. I am not doing anything super special today. This is just a regular show. I was trying to think of all sorts of stuff I could do, but I ran out of time. I've been working on several projects, and as you know, I'm working on, I'm playing in Vigilantes Union number 13, and been helping out behind the scenes there a little bit. My good friend Jen Giggles, who is also one of the players, is actually in charge of the whole organization, and she's been getting a little overwhelmed. But one thing that could help out is if more people went and watched the show, or any and all of the content over on the Transverse, but specifically the All on the Table stuff. That's the stuff I've been involved with. That's where I got my start in streaming, and indirectly is what led to this show. I had so much fun chatting with people and playing and doing all that. I just got a taste for streaming, and decided to start doing this because it was the thing I could think of to do. um, anyway, so yes, go over, check that out, and let me know what you think. All right. Let's see, do it. It's over here for right now. Let's see, what else is going on? Well, working on some things that are kind of, I'm not talking too much about, that are hopefully going to become reality at some point. Never mind, it's kind of behind the scenes stuff. And what am I doing for these? Also doing a lot of stuff with cleaning out my dad's house and that sort of thing. So, all right, food. Winter Vespers, Morning Wind says it's good to have wise medical advice in regards to the ice cream. Winter Vesper says that she'll force herself to have some ice cream in sympathy and solidarity, and Lori respects her sacrifice. Okay, so we are moving on to Clams Priebe, which sounds in retrospect like the name of a lesbian gangster in the 1920s, but forget I said that. Anyway, so this is a recipe from my mom. I grew up learning how to make these. It's basically, we used to just call it clams, because that's, whenever we had clams, it was like this. And eventually I started calling it clams the way we make them. But for this show, I was like, I've got to give it a better name than that. So Clams Priebe it is. And for a long time, I thought it was a variation on Clams Casino, but I don't think it is. I think it's a kind of its own thing. I have no idea where my mom got the recipe, as usual. But here it is. And I'm not gonna lie, this is basically garlic bread on top of clams. So there are worse things in life. So I've got a pound of clams here, but I can set those off the side. Normally, so a couple points on clams. Unless you dug them up yourself, well, even if you dug them up yourself, then you need to keep them refrigerated, on ice, something. You got to keep them cold. Otherwise, they will die, they will go bad, and they will really mess you up. So, handling clams, live clams, is nothing to joke about. It is a serious safety thing. And so, yeah, I just want to make sure you all know that. I have done a little bit more prep than usual, just because this is a little bit, just because that's the way it ended up, really. So this morning, I made a cup of breadcrumbs just by tearing up some bread, tossing it in a Cuisinart, letting it go until it was about the right consistency that I wanted, which I will show you. It's about like that. You don't want it too fine. You just want it, in small little chunks. Morningwood says, so funny about the food name, but also you had me at garlic. And yes, now I only put 1 clove of garlic in this. You can use garlic powder. Do what you want to do on that front. As with everything, and like I said, I didn't get measurements with this. This is my best approximation of the measurements that we used when I was growing up. And Mom always made it with the garlic powder, just because it was easier than chopping up garlic and making sure you had garlic on hand and all that. I'm going to use fresh garlic because I have some, and that's what I want to do. So I'm going to try something, and I'm just going to cut the end off the garlic here, because you don't want that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing off of my Cuisinart, start it going, and then drop the garlic clove in. And that will actually chop it very fine. If you start with just the clove in there, for some reason it doesn't work. But if you drop it in while it's going, it bounces around along the blades and gets chopped up very fine. So I'm now going to add breadcrumbs. I could also have just chopped the garlic up by hand and then added that in, but I had learned this little trick and I thought I would share. All right, breadcrumbs, and I've got 1 tablespoon of butter, and I'm just going to cut that up. It's pretty warmed up, so it should be okay. I'll try and spread it around a little bit, because otherwise we'll just end up with one big chunk of butter in there somewhere, which is great for that one clam, but not so much for all the others. All right, 2 tablespoons dried basil, or a quarter cup fresh. I used dried just because I didn't want to deal with the full leaves for this. And again, I'm going to kind of approximate this. 2 tablespoons dried basil is about what I figure it'll be. Again, add more or less to taste. I like a lot of basil, but I'm going to go pretty much with what I have written down here. Fun story about this. So the reason I even have written up this recipe is because I've been trying to do a cookbook for my nephews, and this is one of the recipes I definitely wanted to get in there. But I still have not gotten anywhere near to finishing that cookbook. So hopefully, I was going to try and get it done by the time they went off to college. That didn't happen for either of them, and so I'm doing this. All right, now a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese, and I'm almost out of paper towels. But do my best here. I grabbed the grater earlier. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, and like I say, we used to make this growing up. We used to go down and dig clams at the beach near our house out on Puget Sound, and had a really good time doing that. You can also, by the way, do this recipe with mussels, but I don't know. I don't like it as well. I think that you end up with too much mussel to basically too much bivalve to topping. But that's just me. If you like that better, go ahead and do it. Or sometimes you can't get clams, and you can get mussels. So that's another reason to do that. I one time can't remember, it was just before or just after I graduated from UW, was on a study where they took clams that were perfectly, basically clams from all around Puget Sound, and they were looking for concentrations of something in them. And so, actually, no, it wasn't concentration, it was just numbers. We just had to take the mussels off and count them, and then there were perfectly good mussels sitting there. So I'm going to put a little bit extra cheese in because that never hurt anyone. So we were just bringing home bags of perfectly good, perfectly fresh mussels, and I ate this for dinner a couple nights in a row. Pretty nice day. All right. So, and a half teaspoon of salt. You can go up or down on this depending on your personal tastes, but all right. And the other thing I'm doing is I've got a pan with a little bit of water and a steamer basket in it over there, which I'm about to show you in just a second. All right. So, and there's conversation going on here. What's going on here? Ember Leo says mussels are very available down here, and though I think clams are too, really. So shrug. Um, Ogre Marco says, I suppose you could do it with the tiny scallops on the shell too. I've never tried that before. It would be, I don't know, that might be a waste of scallops. Because this is the topping kind of overwhelms the seafood in this, and scallops I always think as having a fairly delicate flavor and texture, and I think they're probably better preparations for this. Winter Vesper says the clams are just one reminder to me of the stunning similarities between the Seattle and Boston regions. I can believe it. I've never actually been to Boston. Someday I should probably go. I just, for whatever reason, have never made it over there. I've been to surprisingly few places. I mean, why would I ever leave Seattle? Fair enough, though. I did live in California for 8 years, so I guess I did leave it for that. But I haven't actually been over to the East Coast since I was probably in second grade. Lori says, I had a business trip to Boston once, and the people were incredibly friendly, which was very nice. Which is exactly opposite of the stereotype there, but everyone I've ever met from Boston has been incredibly friendly. All right. One other thing I can say about this drink, it is very strongly flavored, but it's still very refreshing. All right. So, have my pan over here, steamer basket. You can see the steam coming out. And I'm going to take my pound of clams, and I'm going to put those in there. Now, you might be asking, Dana, how long should we have them in there for? And the answer to that is, you put them in until they open up. And if they don't open up, you throw them out. Because, remember how I was saying that the clams that go bad go very bad? If they don't open up, they were dead when you got them, and therefore not good. So, alright, so while those go for about a minute, the time is roughly a minute or two. So, I'm going to go ahead and hold this here, I just am trying to mix it all together, get butter on all the breadcrumbs, that sort of thing. And let me take a look at that. That looks very good. I'm going to scrape the sides there just to make sure that garlic came off. Yeah, you don't want to do it too much more, or you will end up with way too tiny breadcrumbs, and the texture will be weird. It'll taste more like sand than breadcrumbs in terms of texture. So the other thing is, like I say, adjust the ingredients to taste. But if you add too much butter, you can end up with kind of almost a paste, and that's not very good. I mean, you get extra butter on everything, which is never bad, but it's not really what we're going for on this. You just want enough butter to essentially fry the breadcrumbs on top of the clams. All right. So what do people say? Lori's doing some talking here. Thank you to our anonymous benefactor for a tier 1 sub for Ember Leo. Very much appreciate that. So grateful for your support over this past year. It has meant a lot. It has bought much booze for the show, as well as being part of the Omni-Fizz. All right. Morning Wind says, quite honestly, you could put that topping on a glove and I'd be bouncing happily with a fork and knife. Yes, yeah, like I say, it is basically garlic bread. There's some discussion. Yes, Ember Leo's asking who keeps gifting me subs. Is it the same every time? And yes, that is our anonymous benefactor, who is someone who has supported the show financially, again, for pretty much a year. and or at the very least, since we could get donations, and actually a little bit before, um, uh, just been incredibly generous throughout the years or throughout the year. I have. Normally I say throughout the years because I can't remember how long it's been, but we canonically have the information for how long it's been. Uh, so yes, thank you all to our anonymous benefactor here. Ska has showed up. Hi, Ska. Ogre Marco says, clams, throw them out if they're open and won't close when you tap them before cooking. Throw out the ones that won't open when you cook them, and toss the broken ones too. Yep. Yeah, that is absolutely the case. All right. Ember Leo says, thank you for the reminder. Oh, yes. Yeah, so gifting other people subs is a way to sponsor the show, because I get, for each sponsorship, I get $3.50, I think, or somewhere around there. As a reminder, if you have Prime, Amazon Prime, and you've hooked it to your Twitch account, then you get a free Prime subscription, which pays just the same for me and costs you nothing. You get one of those free a month. So, just a second, I set this aside. Those are coming along. Hopefully I didn't run out of water in there. You know, it's still going. Alright, alright, so yes, I'm just getting this ready here. Just getting a big baking sheet. Gonna cover it with foil. So yes, but Prime subs count just the same, cost you nothing. All you have to do is hook up your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, or it might automatically be there. I'm not sure, because Amazon owns Twitch these days. So yeah. All right. All right. And yes, so. But yes, yeah, that's one way to do it. If you're curious about how it all works, for every bit I get a penny. For every sub I get like $3.50 or something like that. Ooh, all right, and these are now ready. And then I actually have, if you type !tip, you can see other ways to just flat out give me money where Twitch doesn't get any of it. But, you know, don't feel obliged. If you can and want to support the show, I am very appreciative. As it says in the tip command, any money that we gain from this will be spent on women and booze. So please enable me. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm pulling this out, and yeah, this is a broken one. You can see it tried to open up, but didn't, so we tossed that one. Couple in here. All right, so just take it and just twist the back shell until it comes off. So basically, we're making clams on the half shell here. This one didn't open, so we toss it. Sometimes I will take the ones that are closed and steam them again, because you have to work kind of fast. If you don't work fast, then they close up again. But at this point, I mean, the clams are cooked. They're probably not gonna open up again. It's all just the tendons tightening up effectively. One other note on this is that you want to get the smallest clams possible, just because that gives the best clam to topping ratio, in my opinion. That's always how my mom said to do it, and that's how I've done it, and I agree. I've tried it. I haven't always been able to get nice small clams, so yeah, just ask for the smallest ones that they're willing to give you. If they get surly about it, then just take what they give you. But you know, if you can, and I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing here, but I am basically putting them on the tray as close together as possible, because what we're going to do is basically just spread the topping over the top of them, and you don't want it to fall through to the foil below. And I should have probably checked to see what specific type of clams these were. They were the ones they had at the store. That's pretty much it. I'm sure they were, if not actually local, at least from nearby. And another closed one here. Actually, getting... Well, no, that one's open. Yeah, that one's open, but just barely. I'm questioning this one because it's a big one anyway, so I'm actually going to toss that just to be on the safe side. This one is closed. I don't know, this is a lot more closed ones than I normally get, and maybe that's because I'm talking and they're closing up on me. But, yeah, another... Wow, I don't know if these were just bad or if it's just me, or... Sometimes I think if you boil them a little too long, they can close up again, but I don't know. Yeah, it's the big ones too. No, this one's open. Okay. Let's see. Ska asks, what does closed mean for the clams? It means that it was dead when I got it, or when I put it in there, which means that it was starting to build up toxins. And that one, by the way, wasn't broken. I broke it trying to get the back off. Sometimes they don't come easy. Anyway, but it means there's probably toxins in it, and just to be on the safe side, you want to toss those. Emerlio says, if a clam's... Yeah. Yeah, it means they're full of garbage you don't want to eat. So... Alright. So... Plus or minus a few clams that didn't make the cut. This is roughly what I got out of about a pound of clams. So I would say that is a appetizer for 2 people, maybe a meal for 1. Because this is actually, hey, Lori will happily have this for dinner. Well, I'm not sure if she'll do it today because of how she's feeling, but normally this would be a good meal for her. Let's see. Ogre says, toss the clam, avoid the can. Crassly but accurately put. Which is, I believe, Ogre's brand. That was specifically for Mickey. Alright, so I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to just kind of... You can just sprinkle it on top. You can pour it on top. There's enough here. Yeah. I know I bought a pound, but it's probably a little much topping for it. This might do... Well, no, it's about right. If all of them had opened up, this is how much you'd need. And you want to make sure you get it on all of them, all the way out to the edges. And then... Oh, yeah. One thing I didn't do was turn on the broiler or oven to warm it up. Because now, as you would with any good garlic bread, you are going to, or I am in this case, going to stick it in the oven. Alright, so, and I did use all of those crumbs. If you really wanted to save the boiled clam juice at the bottom of the pan, probably use it for clam chowder or something. I don't know what. I never do. I always throw it out. So that's what it looks like. And I'm actually going to check to see what I wrote down here, because it's been a while since I made these. Broil for 2.5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry, it's literally been at least a couple of years since I made these. Well, maybe a year since I made these. It is a dish that you can make any time of year. I think it goes just as well in winter as it does in summer. I think the reason I haven't made these is just because clams aren't the cheapest thing, and I never seem to catch them on sale for some reason. And also, I think Lori likes these a lot better than I do, and I'm the one who cooks, so that means they don't get in the rotation as often. Which is bad of me, but, if she has a bad day, I will definitely make these. Well, going to let this warm up for just a second. Well, actually, no. Actually, I'm going to put it in the cold oven, and then I will just check it after 2.5 minutes. I've already started it, so 1, 2, and all the seconds. And we'll see how that looks. All right. And now I'll clean this up. I'm going to take these directly out to the garbage can because there are dead clams here, and they will stink up your kitchen. Something fierce. Let's see. The shells are nothing really to write home about. Don't really need to save those unless you have a fish tank that is in desperate need for something at the bottom. So, let's see. So, while those are cooking, I'm going to take a breath for a second. And say, yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm just... Sorry, I'm a little brain fried today. It's been a busy week. It's going to be a busy week. I'm going to get a chance to see a good old friend from that I haven't seen since before I came out. Let's put it that way. This weekend, and so that's going to be fun. But I also just have stuff booked every day this week, and I'm not going to have a break until like next Sunday at the soonest. So I have been doing it for a while. All right. Yeah, Ogre says that is in fact his brand, and whatever shall you do with the leftover topping? Bread. I mean, it's got the bread built in. You just stick it on the pan and then just funnel it into your mouth is what you do with it. Morning Wind redeemed a toast. To Morning Wind and to all of you, happy anniversary. Cheers. Winter Vesper says, if the clams are dead, we substitute bread, which is not, this is basically my garlic bread recipe, except instead of breadcrumbs, you use bread. And I usually leave out the salt for that, just for some reason, because, I'm not seasoning the meat, in this. All right, so I'm going to start getting things ready to go for the next drink, actually. And nope. Except that the clams are done. So let's check those and see how they're doing. Alright. Perfect. They came out perfect. So let's take a look here, see if I can tilt it up for you. You want them just browned on the breadcrumbs. Underneath, they're going to soak up the juices from the clams. They are they're underneath. It's not super hot because foil and the clams act as a heat shield. But they should be cooked all the way through. And let me turn off the oven because it's already a pretty warm day in here. And let me grab one. Now, some of the topping does come off when you pull them out and pull them apart, but you can always pick it up and put it back on. Because the butter and the cheese and all that makes it stick together. So let's see if I can get one close here. That's what they look like right up close. And I got a little bit of shell, but... And they're very good. You get the clam taste in there. It's not completely covered up. It is somewhat covered up, I have to admit, by the bread, but the bread picks up the juices from the clams, so you get that flavor in there. There's definite seafood in this. And sometimes with clams and mussels, they can be a little chewy and a little bit, I don't know, a little bit tough to get through, and a little too much flavor, in my opinion. These, I think, are just about the right ratio. Lori has joined us off camera, I believe, today, but she is going to try one and just make sure you don't bite off any shell or anything.
I understand. Doing this carefully because I don't want to go back to the dentist. Yep. It smells like an Italian bakery in here, so I'm going to just say that right now. Yeah, it's really good. I like you like the really tiny clams for this, and they make a nice chunk of tiny meat. And then that's really smooth, liquidy feel, and then buttery and garlicky, and then the bread is crunchy and buttery as well. And so I obviously love these. Is that 1 pound of clams?
A few of the bigger ones didn't open.
Oh, okay. So, I'm confused.
Yeah, no, normally, this looks like a lot less than we're used to, but normally for a big meal or something, I'll make like 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds. But I think there's also a little bit of sand in these, but not too much. No, put it all in the big one.
You send it with meats back to my room?
Well, I thought that's where you were
That is exactly what I would like, but you're having a show right now.
I know. Well, part of the show is, I started off doing the show with handy housewife tips, and one of the biggest things about being a housewife is treating your spouse well.
Thank you, sweet.
There you go. Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. She pays the bills. She gets the clams. Again, strike that from the record, please. So, let me tidy up here and get on to the next cocktail. I'll deal with that later. Let me change over the thing here, and Ogre Marco refuses to strike that from the record. Oh. Winter Vespers asks, if you please, what is Random Girl's review of the Neruda? Lori, did you want to come back for the Neruda? She said earlier that she didn't want to do too much, just to be sure. I can tell you that she does like it, and let's see. Yeah, I'll let her type it in chat if she can. Also, Ember Leo's heading out because her sweetie has arrived, and I hope you had a great time. Thank you again for all of your support and for being here. Appreciate you very much. It was good seeing you tonight. Let's see. I think I missed something here. So a couple of people said that the clams were yummy looking, and Scott asked, does the clam just slide off the shell? That she's never had this. So they can just slide off the shell. Sometimes you need to get your teeth and kind of scrape them off the shell, but especially with the smaller ones, they usually don't stick too badly or at all. Usually if they stick, it may mean that you've overcooked them, oversteamed them, but it's hard to say. Sometimes they just do it, and sometimes they don't. But like I say, just you can just use your teeth to scrape them off. All right, and let's see. What was the other thing? Oh, Morning Wind said, same ska, and I feel it might be a necessity to try them. So yes, I hope you do try it. I hope you enjoy them. It's like I say, this is just the clams that I grew up eating. And it's got fond family memories for me, being, going down to the beach and digging them up with my brother and my mom and dad, and then coming home with a big bucket of clams and making this out of them. Never got the mussels off the beach, usually because they were attached to the rocks and baking in the sun, and that didn't seem healthy. All right. So, yes. So, Lori, if you're in the chat, go ahead and give you a review of the Neruda. Otherwise, I'm going to get on to the next drink. I should have sent this off with her, too, but... In the meantime, I will enjoy it. All right. So, this next drink... Oh, I didn't move this over. There we go. All right. So, the next drink is called a Pink Djinn. Djinn. Like the being from Arabic mythology. And this drink was invented by my good friend Lucas Mayan, otherwise known as Lurkus Mayhem of the Destroyers. They who have provided the lovely theme music for the show. He is a great guy, all around good friend, and this drink is a... So, let me back up a bit. Welcome to ADHD Theater. Every year for Christmas, I make a bunch of jams and jellies and cordials and liqueurs and things just from stuff that's either I've grown myself or it grows wild around the neighborhood, that kind of thing. One of the things I decided to make, because I've got a lot of rose bushes in our yard, one of the things I decided to make was something with roses in it. Because we have this gorgeous purple rose out there. And of course I was making liqueurs at the time, so I thought, I'll make a rose liqueur. And it ended up being pretty good, I thought. So I gave that out for gifts. And in my opinion, it's fine to sip by itself, but I couldn't really think of anything to do with it. But it was pretty popular among my friends, and Lucas came up with this recipe for a drink, and so I'm making it. I thought it was pretty good, so I make it every now and again when I have some leftover rose cordial. Normally, I have just enough to make a few bottles of it to give out. This year, I ended up with almost 2 liters, and then more rose blooms that I knew what to do with. So I have taken a little off and put it in this little bottle here. Now, right now, it's very peach colored. But that's because it's oxidized a little bit. When I add some lemon juice to it, it will revert to a nice purple color, and actually a rose color. So let me. There we go. So I will start making this now. I'm going to start off. And when he gave me the recipe, he said that he used the standard sour formulation, which is 2 ounces of liqueur, 1 ounce of sour, and 1 ounce of sweet. In this case, the rose liqueurs are sweet, but I'm going to actually add a little more simple syrup because I don't think it's as sweet this year as usual. But, and I don't know why I grabbed the bread knife there. Here's this knife, and it is clean. So, now again, I make this with my own rose liqueur, which obviously you can't buy in the store. So, there are commercially available rose liqueurs out there, and I haven't tried any of them because I make my own, but I'm sure you could use some for this. I know, Droulard does one. I saw a couple others out there, and you might just have to tweak the recipe a bit. More or less simple syrup, more or less of anything else, just to adjust the flavor to your liking. All right. So first, we're gonna get 1 ounce of lemon juice, and I have a couple of citrus squeezers that will get all of the juice out of this for me in one squeeze. I don't know why I never use them. I have 2 of them, and I think I know why. It's because they don't fit real well in a dishwasher, and I'm too lazy to wash them by hand. So I just always squeeze all of my citrus by hand, unless I'm doing a big batch of something. All right, let's see. Did that get full ounce. No, need a little bit more. All right. Get all the seeds out of here. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, Scott's saying that the clams looked easy to prepare. They actually really are. It's very simple to do those. All right, so now I'm going to add. It says a quarter to a half ounce. I'll be honest. I made this last night, and because I want to test the new. Well, I want to test last year's batch, and it had gone bad. That's one problem with this. Is once it oxidizes too far, you get precipitates, and you can't save it. So I made this last night, and it was. I don't know if I used a new measuring shot glass that I had gotten, and I don't think I was looking at it right. It didn't work very well, so I think I may have made it a little bit off, and then I just splashed a little bit of simple syrup in it. So I'm thinking that this should be about right. Is a quarter to a half ounce. I think I'm going to add it a quarter to begin with and see where that puts us after I make the drink. And again, this is, it doesn't really matter what I do here because you're not going to be using the same rose liqueur. So, speaking of which, I'm going to show you the party trick, and I'm not sure if this will show up on camera very well. But as you can see, it's kind of, here, let me put it on the back camera, see if I can get it to go here. And, all right. So this is, let's see if I can get in light. You can see it's kind of that peachy color. And hopefully this will work here. I'm just going to add like a drop or two of lemon juice to it. And swirl it around. Oh, come on. You did this perfectly well last night. All right, another couple drops. All right, that's not doing the party trick. When I add it to the all the other lemon juice in there, it will turn a nice purple color. But oh well. It's actually changing a little bit already, but this is just not the right light to see it. Dang it! I thought that was gonna be a cool trick. All right. Well, 1 year in, I'm still learning things. So, all right. So 1 ounce here, and of course, because I had the lemon juice in here earlier, and I've got a much smaller volume, this is actually turning purple now, but not enough to really see it on the camera. So, yeah, and it's very purple in there now because of all the other. I'm going to add 2 ounces of gin to this. So lemon juice, simple syrup, rose liqueur, and 2 ounces of gin. And I'm using dry fly now because I was out of the aviation, and they finally had this stuff in the store again. I've been looking for it for a while. It was my go-to gin for a long time, and I switched to the aviation for a little while just to see what it was like, and then couldn't find this for a long time. But this is a local gin. It's listed as, instead of a London Dry, as a Washington Dry gin, made over in Eastern Washington, I believe. Distilled from Washington wheat, and it doesn't say where it's actually done, but I'm pretty sure it's over in Eastern Washington. All right, so last thing is Angostura bitters, and Lucas says you can use any bitters you want, but ideally you want to use something red to keep the nice pink color going. So I'm just going to use Angostura, which does have a lovely red color, and just 2 dashes there. All right. Oh, camera flip. Yes, sorry. Tell you, 1 year in, and I still screw things up. All right. Well, I narrated. You know what? You know what I've done. Oh, goodness gracious. At least I have the sound on this time. Okay, so here, let me move all this back so you can see it on camera, which I now have right. Although I'm actually going to walk over here and get some ice in here. And I'm actually going to put in, well, here, let me put a little crush down. I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of our new ice maker on the fridge. I should actually have used some of the bigger chunks from the freezer that I made specifically for this kind of thing, but oh well. Okay, go ahead and shake it here. And here we are. Ooh, and this, I made a little too much for this glass. But let me again try and show it on the back camera. And this time I will try and remember to flip it back. There we go. And again, yeah, the light in here is not perfect, but it is a lovely pale pink color. Here, let me see if it's better without that light on. There we go. Yeah, that's a little more color accurate. Just a lovely pale pink. Actually, it looks a little bit like pink grapefruit juice, but tastes nothing like that. So, now going back. So, let me see what this tastes like. Yeah, I need the extra 1/4 ounce of a simple syrup. And it may just be that this lemon's a little tartar than the one I used yesterday. Okay. And let me stir that up a little bit. Oh, well. I'm not going to lie. This recipe, I'm just making this drink just for me. You got the first one. I get the second one. Well, and it's also because I want to highlight how cool Lucas is all the time. I know a lot of great people, and a lot of them are in the audience today. But I also know a few who aren't necessarily here, but are here in spirit. So yes. So I think the best way to describe it is almost like pink lemonade that eventually becomes roses. You get that sweet tart lemonade flavor, and I think if I added even more simple syrup, you'd get even more of that lemonade flavor. And then it just, as the lemonade fades off your tongue, the roses appear, and it is just elegant. It is a lovely drink. I honestly wish that more people could have this. If anyone goes out and gets some rose liqueur and makes this, I would really want to know how it ends up, because I think this is an elegant, beautiful drink, and Lucas did a great job making it. So, Scott says, well, a few people say that it's pretty, and Scott says that she loves pink drinks, and Winter Vespers agrees. Yes, I kind of have made it my mission on the show to find a few drinks that I think are better pink drinks, more femme drinks than the Cosmopolitan, I am not a Cosmopolitan fan. I know it is the stereotypical femme drink, but I just don't think it's a good drink. Um, and it was originally not meant to be femme, by the way. It was originally just meant to uh, be a. I'm trying to remember. It was one of the original drinks that came out during the cocktail revival, and Greg was talking about this on his show. Anyway, long story short, yes, I am all for pink drinks. This is a lovely one. Uh, and cheers to all of you. So, what's coming up for the next year? You tell me. It's been a heck of a year. And I wish I could say I'm going to take the next few weeks to relax and recover and try new recipes and do stuff. And there is going to be some of that, but I'm also going to be, they say, doing stuff for, to help finish up my dad's estate, that kind of thing, and just catch up from all the stuff that's been by the wayside for the past year. But I promise you, I will have ideas for episodes when I resume. I guess in it's August already. Yeah, August. Is it September already? No, August is the next month when I'm back then, and I'm going to try and keep this going for at least another year. If you'll keep coming and showing up and hanging out with me. If we can bring your friends, bring your enemies, we'll have a good time. I really appreciate all of you. This has gone way better than I had ever hoped. I'm just so happy and so thrilled that you could be with me through all of this, and so grateful too. Like I say, we literally would not have gotten here without all of you. So, Vener Vesper says, my understanding is there's a lot of different flowers with a history as various LGBT symbols. I think there's some history of roses as a trans symbol. I have not heard that, although I absolutely believe it. There are all sorts of codes having to do with queer folks and trans folks. The famous handkerchief code was one of them. There was a symbol about lesbians wearing carabiners with their keys on them, and if you wore it on one side, that meant one thing, and if you wore it on the other side, that meant another thing. That sort of thing. There's also an entire language of flowers. Back in, I want to say, the Victorian times, they were used to send secret messages or to communicate specific things via the language of flower bouquets. That's where we get that yellow roses mean friendship, whereas red roses mean romance. But it gets much more detailed, and you can actually send like a complete paragraph in one flower bouquet. My mom got slightly into it for a while, and I got even more into it for a bit. But it's very fascinating. Now, I haven't heard that roses are a trans symbol specifically, but I can believe it, especially a trans femme symbol. But again, I'd have to do more research on that. Although it's a fantastic idea, because, like I say, one of my goals eventually is to make a transgender cocktail, and to make queer cocktails that are actually good and not just gimmicky, because that's kind of been my experience. But I'll have to look into that more, Winter Vespers. Thank you very much for that fact. Or that information. I really gonna have to look into it. So yeah. Can't guarantee I'm gonna do another marathon stream like we did for Christmas. That was, I think I said at the time, and I, absolutely accurately, I did that to get affiliate status. I might do another marathon stream for charity again because that one was successful and it was for a good cause. And I thought that went fantastically. So maybe around Christmas we'll do another one of those, but probably not all the mini-sodes and that kind of thing. To get affiliate, you have to jump through all these hoops. One of them is to have a certain number of followers. Another is that you have to have a certain number of average for followers every time you stream, or over all of your streams for a month. The others you have to record for a certain amount of time in a month, and then you have to stream on a certain number of unique days in a month. So that's why I did the mini-sodes to get the number of days, and then the marathon stream to get enough time. And all of you had already helped me out getting enough people. So probably won't do that part again, but may well do the charity stream because I thought that was a pretty good thing. But who knows what's going to happen between now and then. I remember saying this time last year that, there's probably going to be some gaps because, or actually it wasn't this time last year. It was this time in like January or so that I had some surgeries coming up and they were going to, I was going to have to take a week or two off. And of course they haven't happened. But hopefully, hope springs eternal that they will. And then you'll have something prettier to look at than me right now. Or someone, I should say, which is still me, but anyway, this has all gotten away from me, and which means it's a very good drink. So I should probably just leave it here then. Thank you all for being with me on this ride. I cannot say it or emphasize it enough that we really wouldn't be here without all of you, and I appreciate you so much. There are no words, so I'll just say cheers, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.